So I would like to welcome you to this speaker. I'm sure most of you have seen a lot of posts by Vikrant Shukla on Magento, and he's a very active member in the Magento community. So let me just give a brief intro to you about Vikrant. So he's been working with the Magento platform right since its beta version back in 2007. Hence, he's coming with approximately 13 years of experience. He's currently a solution architect at Magento and Adobe company. He has a lot of experience and success in delivering enterprise Magento projects. So today he's here to share some insights on human emotions and impact on e-commerce sales. So Vikrant, I shall let you take it ahead from here.
Yeah, hi, Yash. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I would start my screen share so that it is easy for all of you. Just give me a second. So, hi, everyone. It is a pleasure being here in Meet Magento, Singapore for the second time. I know we are doing it virtually, but the enthusiasm of Magento community never goes away, whether we are virtual or we are in physical. I certainly do miss the hugs and the fist bumps that we used to give and the after parties that we used to do. But nevertheless, I'm sure and optimistic that we will get back there. As he has mentioned, I would actually begin with a very short introduction about myself. So, my name is Vikrant. Most of you might have heard me, seen me, and met me during different Magento events. I have been working with Magento since its beta version back in 2007. Luckily, someone just told me today that he was in class fifth when I started working in Magento. So that makes me feel old, very old now. Anyways, so I am actually part of multiple Magento meetup groups, and I help organize multiple Magento meetup groups in India. And I love speaking in Magento events. You can reach me out into different handles that are mentioned over here. And I'm a very proud father of one human and four furry babies. You might have seen them, the post on LinkedIn and Facebooks. Great. So what are we going to talk today? So my agenda is going to be about how human emotions impact sales, whether it is e-commerce sales or retail sales. In this time of pandemic, when we are struggling to go out of our homes and confined in our four walls, it's very important for any business to understand the human emotions. Most of us believe that we make a decision based on our facts and figures. That's not true. Our emotions drive our decisions, and our emotion drives our buying pattern. So in today's session, I'll be going to be covering about human emotions and the emotional design pyramid, how the concept of emotional design works, few examples, and then I'll be sharing some of the emotion driven sales strategies. See, we humans have been on this earth since long. Everything around us have changed. Our parents were not using mobile phone. Their parents were not using, even did not have an electronics gadget. The things around us have changed a lot. We now have got gigabytes and terabytes of processing units inside computer. The only thing that has not changed is our hardware, the hardware that we have in our brain, that we call as our brain. The hardware is not updated. We now don't have a very big brain with time and with the technology that has grown across. So what has happened is we now are trying to adopt with our old given hardware in this new changing time. We have been able to develop different emotional patterns. We have been able to develop different logical patterns. Now everything is on our fingertips compared to how it was with our ancestors, where the fight and the flight mode was the only thing that they knew about. So in this slide, basically I'm sharing there are three types of emotional systems. Broadly, we can define the emotions into three systems. The dominant system, where is the feeling of pride and anger, rage, or powerfulness. The stimulus system, which is more about the surprise or tingling effect that you get. and the balance system, which is kind of a more mediocre system, right? Not mediocre, basically a moderate system. As I was telling you, 95% of our sales happens, sales decision happens just because of our emotional impulses, not because of our learning impulses. So, what is a design pyramid? Most of you might have seen this Maslow's pyramid, which is basically part of the most human motivation, which actually speaks about the hierarchy of needs, right? So, in this hierarchy of needs, we have our psychological needs, which are actually kind of the premium things: safety needs, love and belonging, esteem, and then self actualization. We can make the same pyramid for our emotional designs, wherein the design has to be functional, the design has to be reliable, the design has to be usable, and then the design must be pleasurable. As a user, not only the design, the business that I am working with needs to give me all of these things. The design, or let's say the business, needs to be functionally operatable. The business needs to be reliable. I need to trust the business. The product that I take from the e-commerce store should be usable for me, and it should give me a sense of pleasure. That is where the human emotion gets fulfilled, or let's say the ego of the human emotion gets fulfilled, and you get a better sales. So, what I'm trying to portray today is how e-commerce companies can utilize these human emotional factors into their business and get the needful desired sales outcome from it. Going deep into the emotional design, if you see, we can broadly define those designs into versatile, reflective, and behavioral, and then cultivating love into it. So basically, what you are doing is you are making your product desirable, you are making your product usable, you are making your product compelling, and you are making your product emotionally viable, which can actually connect to the people. So what you are doing is you are generating the feeling of might, can, will, and love. When I say product, it can be anything that you are selling, or it can be anything, it can be your e-commerce store as such. Let's say if you are a marketplace aggregator, you need to make the people feel that they need it. It's desirable. The product that they buy needs to be completely usable. That is where you bring a lot of attraction and a lot of sales back to um, your website. The product or the e-commerce store needs to be compelling, like how we see in case of Apple is a very classic example of how they have made their things desirable, usable, compelling, and emotional. When you buy a new Apple phone, you have a feeling of pride. What is that? That's just emotion. So they have created a very good. Apple is one of the best brand to quote about how they are using human emotions to sell their products. Even though you may have an Apple phone already with you, maybe the latest one, but next year when they come up with another product, even though they are not giving you the chargers and the headphones, you will still want to buy it because it's compelling, it's giving you the fulfillment that you need. Now, coming to this screen about the emotional design, there again, this is more about the illustration that I was telling, that your design needs to be versatile. Your design needs to have a behavioral and reflective. So this is more deep dive into the earlier slide, wherein what we are doing is we are telling that whenever someone wants, how do we trigger the emotional feelings? First, the person or the buyer basically is going to see your product, or let's say is going to see your e-commerce store. At that moment of time, you need to make your your e-commerce store very desirable. So what are the techniques to do all of these things? So there are the techniques. Most of you might have already heard about these techniques. Some of them, I'll call them out. So personalization and customization. So whenever you want to make your customer feel that you are actually bringing value to them, you need to have the concept of personalization. Magento gives a very highly AI driven personalization engine. So that is one example of how you can drive the personalization into your system. expressive imagery. Whenever you need to create a very robust, let's say, you need to create a very robust impression with your customer, you need to have a very robust imaginary. So basically you need to be very creative with your images, with your marketing post and all of those things. Positive surprise, so that actually evokes our feeling of the surprise part of the brain, wherein we want positive surprise. The positive surprise for your customer could be like throwing away a discount coupon on, let's say, New Year, or giving them some value based on their purchase cycle. I'll give you a very good example of how the surprise element works. Maybe those from India would know there is an app called Cred, which you can use to pay your credit card bills. I'm a very heavy credit card user, and I use that app. And this Diwali, they sent me a very surprisingly, they gave me a gift. They sent me a gift, and it was very positive surprise, which actually increased my trust in the brand and making me a vocal marketer for their services. So these are some of the things. Storytelling and humor is another very important factor. You cannot just be selling in your website. You cannot just be go and say that, hey, sell, sell, sell. That is not going to work. You need to have a storytelling, a very compelling storytelling case. Because see, as humans, we are always fascinated and always want to learn about how X did in his life to achieve Y, and what are the processes. I'll give you some of the examples. You might have seen it. I have just collected some of the examples with some of the emotional patterns that drives the sales. So this one is urgency. If you see on this page, what they have done is they are showing that 9 people are looking at it, booked 5 times today, in high demand. That is actually a indirect push to your emotion to ensure that the buyer goes ahead and books this property. It's not that always there will be people who are going to book it right now, but the feeling of loss inside humans is more higher than the feeling of gain. That's how we are tuned. That's how human emotions are. That's how human brain is. We as humans, trust me, are always inclined to choose the most lazy possible options if we are given an option to choose. It's because our hardware is not upgraded. It is still following the same pattern that our ancestors used to follow, of fight or flight. And as humans, I can assure you, you can go back, check it out in your daily life. We are hardwired to choose the most laziest possible option. That is where the sense of urgency is going to hit your customer, and they're going to buy it. The other one is social proof. Customer who brought it also bought, right? This is a social proof wherein you are telling that, hey, Mr. X, you are going to buy a T-shirt. Maybe this is something that that other people have purchased. Even though you don't want to buy it, you will go and see, okay, what are the people around in the world doing? Let me know. That is another social proof, or let's say the social validation, the psychology of social validation that we human needs. We are a social animal. COVID might have made us confined to our rooms, but the embedded or hardwired social feeling do not go away. And this is how you can leverage that feeling to increase your sales on the e-commerce store. The other one is the review and the rating. So this is another example of the social proof, wherein you are actually bringing in the reviews and feedbacks from different people and saying that, hey, you would always want to buy a product after seeing the review. At least I do. I go ahead and see the reviews, and I do read it. They do not impact my decision, but they certainly are a very powerful impact tool on the psychology of people to buy or sell. Authority. You see these brand logos, the bigger logo of Tommy Hilfiger or Dr. Martin or Kelvin Keller. You need to look like an authority when you are selling your products to your customer. Again, humans are either submissive or dominant by nature. There can be a contradiction theory wherein we can always say that there is someone who is kind of a moderate, but even in moderate they would either be on the dominant moderate or they would either be on a submissive moderate. So authority is a very important thing in e-commerce sales. If you look like an authoritative brand, people will speak of you, people will come to you, and there will be a regular buying process on the e-commerce store. Reciprocation. This is another very important thing. The example of the cred that I told you. You need to give something, you need to reciprocate the feeling, and you need to bring that emotion that, hey, I am with you. Here is a discount coupon that you can use to purchase on my store. Buy X on the first go and get 20% free. These things, we all have been implementing it. I at least have been since I started e-commerce. But very lately I started reviewing around it, and I think I'll thanks COVID actually for pushing me to start thinking in this direction as how e-commerce and the psychology of humans are related. We all know how we all have done panic buying in last 7 or 8 months. I would disagree if someone says no, I have not done any panic buying. It's a very humanly thing. Agreed. Though I know we have not fought on the toilet papers, but yeah, still the panic buying was there. One important thing, and this is not the pro thing that I have been speaking about, this is something which I'll say we should not be doing. Do not offer multiple choices to your customer on your e-commerce store. This will create confusion. Humans, again, as I said, are bound to follow the most lazy route to get their thing happen. If you confuse them with multiple options, you are creating a friction in your e-commerce journey. You would actually have people think, and as we all know, if a person is there on the e-commerce store, you just get somewhere around 2 to 3 seconds to get anyone's attention in today's time. And I think that number will also decrease considering how much we are using our digital apps and digital assets now. So do not confuse your customer. Offer them the right choice. That is where the personalization comes. You can actually go ahead and debate about it, but this is one thing which is a proven theory for it. The other one is greed. This is, I know a few of you might have their eyebrows up saying that, hey, no, we don't feel greed, right? How can you say that? But trust me, accept it. It's an embedded human feeling, right? We all are part of it. So when I say greed, I do not mean that you want to snatch away someone's work or someone's stuff away, but the feeling that I need it, this is for me, this is what I need. That is the feeling of greed, and I need it now. I need it. I make it happen for me. So you need to have such kind of a promotional coupons or messaging, which should be very clear, very transparent, and this should actually speak, or let's say feed the feeling of greed in your customers. Again, and as I said, greed in here is being used in a very positive way. Loyalty. Again, if you see, this is an image from the Flipkart store and the loyalty store, and they every e-commerce store have now started creating loyalty programs, and it's kind of embedded. We all use it. Why do we use it? What is the need of loyalty? It actually gives you the feeling of resemblance, or let's say self connect with the brand, and that is where the feeling of loyalty should be taken ahead. It's very important, at most important, for any e-commerce brand to have a very robust loyalty program. I am getting close to my time, so I may speed up a bit. The wheel of persuasion. This is a very important slide, I would say, according to me. So the persuasion is something that you have to keep doing. It's kind of embedded again in our whole life and in our whole ecosystem, whether we are in a business or whether we are doing it for ourselves. So wheel of persuasion, you are actually creating the defaults, like creating the feeling of scarcity, that hey, buy now, it's going to be over, the sale is going to be over, like what Amazon Prime or let's say the Flipkart sales does. Reciprocation, attention, passing on the right messages. providing a commitment to your brand, like we are committed to deliver. Like in time of pandemic, there were different brands which have come up and said that we are here to ensure that you get your groceries. Even if we don't do that, we are here to ensure that. So the feeling of commitment brings you closer to your brand, and that you as a brand need to have that commitment for your customer. The psychology of color. So this I took from somewhere, and it says that 85% of the shoppers said colors as their prime reason for why they purchase on a certain project. So this is actually taken from a research and the study. These are different colors and what they mean and why the logo use them. So if you see like excitement, right? If you see the red color of the excitement, so this is majorly used by the food brands or some brand which actually wants to actually ignite the feeling of excitement to you. So these are some of the color influence, how you can use the color to influence your buyers. So this basically, how do you develop loyalty, right? I was talking about loyalty. So how do you develop loyalty? There are four ways to develop loyalty. You need to empathize with your customer, or let's say your buyer. You need to educate them. You need to tell them why they need to buy this. You can't expect someone to come that, hey, I have created an e-commerce website, people will come and buy it themselves. That's not how it happens. You have to educate them about their brand. You need to engage them, and then you need to involve them. So that is how you create. Very quickly, option A, option B. There were two options that were created during. There were two brands. There were two designs that were created, option A and option B. Which one do you think would have got the most number of hit? I would actually want this answer while we are in Q&A. Just remember this image, option A, option B. So I'll come back with the answer during our Q&A session. Effect of COVID-19 on online shopper behavior, we all know this. We have been speaking, there are different sessions in detail about it. So how COVID-19 have impacted, and this is all emotions. The emotion of fear triggered this impact. The emotion of losing out on the essential things triggered this effect. The emotion of not going home decreased or let's say the retail store getting closed, increased the sales. So something which did not happen in 10 years happened in 5 months. Uh, so this slide basically again just goes ahead and validates more about, I'll go to this one. This is more interesting. So this basically is based on a study done on North America population before COVID, obviously. And it says that 11% of the people says know it all. They are shopping because they know it. They think that they are buying because they know it, know everything. Need validation. They want to buy because of different people opinion. Got to be first. This is where Apple hits. This is where Tesla hits the market. Got to be first. I need to buy this. This is mine. That is where it goes. Want some fun and all of these things. So I'll not go in detail, but this is just a validation of how human emotions are actually triggering sales. Now I'm coming close to the slides. This is my last slide. Why the lady? I am going to buy a Ferrari. I am going to buy a Porsche. Why the lady? Have you ever thought about it? Why do we need such a glamorous models selling? Let's say even I have seen a pen being sold by a glamorous model, wherein you as human, whether male, female, or any gender, you would always look at the model first, then the product. This is how you drive emotion. This is the perfect example of how emotion drives your sales. With that, I think I come to the close. These are few of the reference links. I would have this slide posted across so that you can access them. Thanks everyone for hearing me out. I really appreciate your time today. It was pleasure being on Meet Magento Singapore. With this, I would stop my screen share. I think we can go into the...
Vikrant, very informative. Yeah.
Thank you, Yash.
So Vikrant, we have got a couple of questions here. So let me just read it out for you and also post it on your chats. So the first one is from Vatsal, where he would like to know, how emotional intelligence can be combined with BI, that is data, to have the best marketing campaigns.
So thank you, Vatsal, and I know you are a master of this thing and in doing those campaigns and driving the growth for organizations. So what I believe is that emotional intelligence, or EQ, emotion quotient, is something that every brand needs to analyze about. Well, I have seen some of the very big brands, being in Adobe, working with some of the biggest brands. What I'm seeing is uh, they are they are actually they're actually creating, they're not investing much into the emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, understanding their customers and how they are doing what they are doing. So as I said, there is a comprehensive study how you can go ahead and do an analysis about your customers or your brand, and using that emotional intelligence study you can actually integrate with the BI data, as you rightly said, and you can create campaigns according to that. You can ignite all those human emotions that I spoke about: the feeling of urgency, the feeling of fear, the feeling of greed, or the feeling of wanting, the someone who wants to be the first to have it, right? So all of those things could be generated once you know who your customer is. So it's not just knowing that my customer is a demographic of someone between 18 years to 36 years. You need to go deep. You need to understand who my customer is. My customer is someone who is 24 years old, married guy, having one kid, working in an IT company, and not able to go out to buy grocery. That is how deep you need to go. And then if you are able to segregate your customer accordingly, you can create a lot of data around it. You can create a lot of positive marketing around it. I think there is another question which says, hey Vikrant, as you suggested to show low number of options to users so that they won't confuse. So having a simple CTA can improve the conversion rates. Absolutely. Go and see the Apple's website. Go and see Tesla's website. See, it's very what we believe more is good. Again, that's another human psychology. We feel that more is good. I need everything. I need more. More is not good. Let me ask you guys one question, and I am sure you guys don't need to answer it. I'll answer it myself, but you just retrospect. I am sure every one of you in your college days would have collected lots of softwares, lots of movies, lots of document, lot of study material, considering that you one day you will need it. Where are those? At least I did. I had a complete CD rack of around 120 CDs. Those days CDs or DVDs were there, right? I never looked back at them. They are all junk. So the feeling of more is not going to help you. The feeling of rightly chosen element is going to help you, especially in business. You can't throw options to people. Again, I'll call out the line which I have been saying. We humans will always go towards the option which is easy, which has less friction, and that is where we come to the terms like frictionless commerce, or personalization, because you don't want people to use their brain. Pardon me. We want them to use the brain, but we don't want them to use the brain while shopping. They just need to come, choose, buy, go, or pay and go. Don't go without paying. So yeah, that is where I wanted to go. Now, yes, I know I'm running out of time. I just want to ask people, maybe they can answer you.
Sure, sure, definitely. You have a couple of minutes more.
Out of the two images that they saw, option A and option B, I can again share the screen. Which one they believe was had the most number of impact?
Okay, I will tell you the responses of the audience. Perhaps you start sharing your screen.
Yeah, I did share. Can you see it?
Yeah, so I'll tell you the response, what people are saying. Hmm. So most of the people have been answering B, option B.
So it's the otherwise.
It's
Option
the otherwise.
option A. So I'll give you the numbers. With option A, they actually reduced the close button click by 51%, and the subscription rate, see the lowest price button click, went ahead by 30%. The reason for it is, find the lowest price. you are igniting the fear of achievement. Unlock the lowest price. So there is a complete article around it. So unlock, it is uncertain. I am uncertain what I will get. I'm not sure whether I'll get it or not. The just the word find the lowest price actually did wonders for this brand, because you are actually creating the feeling of finding or curiousness into your buyers. So that way, the buyer and this company did this experiment, and that is where I say test, test, test. This is the AB testing formula. We all have heard it, but I just wanted to my today's presentation, I just wanted to combine all the humanly things possible that we do day in day out as an e-commerce experts, but somewhere we are kind of doing it because we are doing it. But I wanted to deep dive, relate it with the human psychology, and understand how and why we are doing it and what would be the impact of it.
Okay, thank you so much, Vikrant. Now, later on, we shall connect with you. You have to choose which question out of the two was good, that we can do it later on and announce the winner tomorrow. Okay, guys, see you then at the
Thank you.
Enchanto session in a couple of minutes. Thank you, Vikrant.
Thank you.